Welcome, dear friends, to Kardec Radio. We are here live in a special task in collaboration with our friends from the SER Center in Connecticut, United States. We have a special conversation about spiritual recipes for the new year. And you're invited to join us as we are in this connection with our dear friend Marcelo Cabral, who is the president of the center, is going to begin this conversation as they are live in their very public meeting. Okay, so just give us a minute as we wait for the connection to hold up. We are going to talk about spiritual recipes for the new year since we are just few days away from 2019, and it's a special transition. Many people ask whether or not this transition to a new year is real. No, it is real. Of course, it is real. The new year is a true phenomenon. Of course, the astronomers show to us that the Earth actually goes around the sun and it takes 365 days. And when it completes, a new year begins, right? Exactly. So, right now for us, we are here in the transmission and I'm waiting. They were just here and something came up that they disappeared. I don't know what happened there, but we're waiting for our friends to rejoin us so we can begin this special meeting with everyone. We're going to talk about a message that was psychographed by Chico Xavier titled Letter to the New Year. The spirit author is Emmanuel himself, and he's bringing to us this new understanding. And while we wait for our friends, I can show to you that the message of our dear Emmanuel begins by saying, hold on, let's just go back and check our system to see if they are there, right? Hold on, friends. Bear with us. Okay, here I have it. The message. All right, here it is. Spiritual recipe for the new year. Emmanuel begins his message by saying to us, the new year is also an opportunity to learn, to work, and to serve. So what is the new year for us? What is the new year for you? Usually many people begin with the renewed hopes, opportunities. So that's the word for us, opportunity. Opportunity for what? To learn. But you know, it's funny because when we become adults, we actually feel feel that we don't need to learn anymore. We think that learning is a task that is to be fulfilled by children. It's very interesting because when we stop giving ourselves an opportunity to learn, our days go by with a void within us. But if I open myself to new learning, the new year is also that opportunity, the learning of the new. To work, also to work. To work means to be useful in every single opportunity and to serve. To serve whom? To serve God and to serve the creatures of God. And I say creatures in the sense of those who were created by God, from humans to animals plants, the earth, the universe. So to serve, to boost what we call in neuroscience, this area, okay, these lobes, the occipital lobes in our brain where we are activating areas that are related to altruism, psychontini, that I connect to observe what people need. And observing people's needs, I will find my opportunity. Right? Finally, I have our friends back here. I'm going to interrupt the presentation a minute so we can have them join us, okay? Marcelo Cabral is here with us. Thank you, Marcelo. Okay, here we are. So let's begin. Let's interrupt a minute our conversation so we can, Marcelo, have your have the center there. You want to say hi to friends. Marcelo Cabral with us.
Hi, everyone. Thank you very much, Vanessa, for the lecture, preparing for us here. We have some technical difficulties here, but I think right now will be okay. So,
Okay.
Vanessa, would you like us to do the prayer and
Yes,
continue,
please.
or you prefer to continue your presentation?
No. We'll wait for you. The prayer, please,
Nice.
Marcelo.
Thank you very much, Vanessa. So, we're going to be reading a part of the Child of God called God, Peace in You. Peace is very important. Governments impose it by fomenting wars, ex- exerting pressure, and submitting people to bondage. Therefore, peace is negotiated in private office and then maintained under arms through fear. Such peace comes from without and disturbing because it is unreal. It's legal through not always moral. It's similar to swamp waters, clear and placid on the surface, but murky and poisonous at the bottom. Such is the peace in the world, fleeting and deceptive. Real peace comes from within a cheerful heart and the understanding mind which acts and trust. It's achieved within an atmosphere of love and devotion, because the harmony which kindles the dynamics of a flourishing life derives from a conscience illuminated by divine laws. Such peace is permanent and it's never disturbed. It constrains not, imposes not. Each person must strive to achieve it. It's the outcome of one's well directed actions and foster noble ideas. To discuss peace or consolate for it, it's not enough. But if you focus your mind on peace, thinking about peace, and act specifically, you will externalize peace from your inner self, and then it will surround you and reach whoever comes near you. So, many peace on earth be your utmost goal. Through constant prayer, may it work outwards as the answer from God. When you pray for peace, tender feeling pervades you, and love, which radiates from God, averts any conflict that might disturb you. Peace within you will further peace in the world. So I'd like to invite all of you here at Central and those that it's following us over the internet to connect with this love, the peace, the harmony of this day that we collectively decided to list the Word of God to inspire us hope, will, courage for this new year that opens to all of us. Thank you, God, for this opportunity to be here and help us to understand and apply all the teachings in our life. So be it. Thank you, Vanessa. And now I turn back to you.
Thank you so much, my friend Marcelo. Let me share with those who are watching us. Marcelo is the president of the Spiritist Society of Bridgeport, right?
That's correct, Vanessa.
And for those who want to access the website is ser-usa.org, correct?
That's correct,
Okay,
Vanessa. I'm going to
so I'm going to write it down here just in case if people want to access the website. Hello, friends. How are
thank
you? Well, thank you so much for having us. All of us, including Kardec Radio's audience as well. Okay, so now I'm going to pass the word to Emmanuel. So Emmanuel can lead the way as we have chosen his message as guidelines for us to the new year. He has in Portuguese titled Carta ao Ano. In English, this message has already been translated and published in the Spiritist magazine, which can be accessed by through the website. We have 44 issues already available free of charge. We have also an app you can access free of charge and read the 44 issues that have been happening the last 10 years. And there is this message, Letter to the New Year by Emmanuel, published as well. Okay, so I'm going to share some slides. The slides will reinforce what we are feeling. It's going to boost in us more feelings and opportunities to renew our understanding. Let me begin with the first ones. Hold on a second, please, friends. And here we are. Emmanuel begins this message, which can be found in the book, in the very book, Vida y Caminho. The book is not yet in English, as majority of the books, Chico Xavier. But it's a message that becomes a must for us. He begins by telling us that the new year is an opportunity to learn, to work, and to serve. For many people, the new year is just whatever. Some people doubt that it's a true physical phenomenon, and it is. Know that the new year, based on what astronomy has seen, the researches shows to us that it's a new cycle that is beginning and an old that has just ended. So it's a true physical phenomenon. It's a fact. It's not a creation of the human mind. And there is a reason why this physical fact is happening. There is a reason. When we go to the light by Emmanuel, we understand that every single feature on earth was well planned by the high spirits. So in our planet, it takes 24 hours. It takes 365 days and a few hours actually to um, to complete a whole year. So it's a physical phenomenon. It's an opportunity for us, as Emmanuel is saying, to do new things. It's opportunity to do what? To learn. And it's funny because as adults, we ask ourselves, I'm going to work. We think adults work, children learn. Spiritism redefines it all and says actually we never stop learning, and that comes firsthand. And it's interesting when we talk about learning because in the book Evolution into Worlds, André Luiz, through Valdo Vieira and Chico Xavier, they explain happens due to effort and recapitulation. Throughout the different kingdoms of the spiritual principle is going to do internships in matter, and through effort and repetition, we're going to evolve. That's the only way we learn. Conclusion for us. If I know something well today, it's a sign that I have been working on it for a while, from previous lives to date. If something is difficult for us today, it's a sign we need to apply ourselves to learn it. So when I see people saying, I'm never going to be good at it. Why? Because of well, you have to try a little harder. We have to try harder and harder. And think of Thomas Edison. How many trials bring us the lamp of light? So for us, everything in nature is about effort. It's part of Emmanuel and André Luiz repeat to us time and again. They say discipline comes first, and it's followed by spontaneity. Discipline means this effort that we make. We the forces of the soul to accomplish something, and then it becomes automated. Nothing becomes second nature if we don't make an effort. So the creation of new conditionings, habits, the new that opportunity for us. But Emmanuel doesn't say only learning, he actually reveals more. He says, learning, working for us as a spiritist, work means to be useful in our occupations. So every time of our day, we ask, am I being useful? And the single opportunity in the clock of the new year, and then to serve. And to serve here reminds us of Emmanuel in the book Thought and Life, chapter 3, when he talks about cooperation, cooperation with God, as if we are co-pilots of God in the universe. That's what co-creators actually mean to us. So Emmanuel brings to us this big statement at the beginning of the message. The new year is an opportunity. It's up to us to embrace it. And then, as a fatherly friend, time, he reincarnates in the body of the calendar, unveiling for us horizons required for our ascension. Quite interesting when he talks about clearer horizons, because he's counting on the expansion of our discernment. We can't forget that Spiritism is first and foremost the light of discernment. So it brings to us new understanding And in that lies the power of reading these books, instructing ourselves, especially working in group, because the difference between our points of view adds up to the expansion of those horizons, knowing that we are all progressing. That's why he uses the word ascension here. And that's the beauty of it all. He's saying to us in not you and I are destined to progress. So in between you is reminding us it's an opportunity to progress. It's an opportunity to grow. It's an opportunity to become anew. But we have a hard time because we're too attached. When we read the book Heaven and Hell by Kardec, we see the worst enemy that we have: attachment. Attachment to our personality. Oh, that's the way I am. Well, but what if you want? Oh, but I won't make it. Well, but from now to immortality, at some point, you're going to change. And today can be the day. Why not? Oh, but I've made, read the book Poland, Saul of Tarsus made and Jesus proved to us that no matter how big our mistake is, the important part of it all is if you want to begin anew. In the book Jesus in the Home by the Spirit, there is a beautiful message that I forgot the title, and forgive me for this, but there's a beautiful message that Jesus gave to all the disciples and to us, immortally speaking, because there is a city that is invaded by a plague, and they need people to deliver remedies. So the angels come, the people who are supposed to be the righteous people. They and they are very devoted to God. They seem to be very straight in their lives in regards to their moral, ethical aspect. And they all turn to that call saying, I'm too busy. I have my things to do. I can't go there. I'm not going to mix myself up with those impure people. And finally, the angels hear the voice of a man who is a criminal, but he wants to change his heart. So the angels say, do you want to change your heart? Do you want to live a better life? So come with us. Deliver this medication and help the people who are suffering in that city. And Jesus ends this message by saying, the righteous people will have to wait to be with those who are the angels, because it's about frequency of the mind. If I am connecting charitably to others, I am in the frequency of the high spirits. The high spirits do not. If yesterday you made a mistake, what is important is the present. There is power in the present, which is truly a gift. So for us, as Emmanuel is showing this, he's reminding to us every day we have an opportunity to ascend, to progress. And in the new year, he continues. Remember the year in return is a new day, calling you to fulfill old promises that you have not yet had the courage to actually fulfill. Is it about our weight? Maybe. It's about losing weight. It's about cleaning up, decluttering our homes. There are options. What is important for us here is actually revisit our old promises. To whom? To God, to ourselves. So that's one of the first things that he outlines. old promises that we need to fulfill. How many of us have made promises to ourselves? I'm going to make that course. I'm going to read that book. Dedicate more of my time to others. And sometimes I hear people saying, "Oh, I do so much for others." And one day Mentor Joseph said, "Now, statistically, do the math to be real with yourself." And then you do the math. How many hours a week you actually devote your time, our time, to others, and we'll see that it's not that much, that we most often spend time manners in idleness, that our lives be changed, be different, become anew. And it will only change when we know how to manage our time more charitably, more wisely. Okay? So Emmanuel is reminding us of these old promises. And as we go back, he continues with his recommendation, saying to us, if you have enemies, now reborn your path of reconciliation. Jesus himself recommends to us that we use the moment we have side by side with the very ones we need to reconcile to actually make that effort. But that reconciliation is not external to our hearts. It begins within. Some people, they claim, but Vanessa, I planned my reconciliation with X person. I knocked on their door. I didn't say anything. And they started cursing me. You see, it doesn't work. There's more to the whole circumstance. We all know that there are spirits in the beyond who want us to reconcile, but also those who don't want us to be free in our conscience. They want us to of animosity. Why? To control us in guilt. Exactly. Control us in guilt. Guilt is the worst enemy for us. So it's wise to really deal with how we feel about people. That's why it begins. It doesn't begin by knocking at people's doors. It begins inside of us. Inside of us. Give an example. In chapter 23 of the Medium's book by Allan Kardec, Kardec defines obsession as a persistent negative influence of a spirit over another, incarnated, discarnated. But the trick here is to observe persistent negative influence. We all know that as we emitting mental darts, if every time I think of a person, I only think of negative thoughts and feelings, if I do that constantly, frequently, I am in the list of obsessors. I am the obsessor of that person. So reconciliation begins when I stop emitting, because that mental dart isn't itself. When I stop emitting those negative mental darts. But Vanessa, what do I do? Well, Joana de Angelis through Divaldo Franco, in the book Happy Life, she recommends, and we are quoting all the great spirits that became teachers for us in Spiritism. She says, substitute a negative thought by a positive one. And when Joana de Angelis is saying so, she relies upon foundational teaching in the book Genesis, when he says, we think, we create thought forms that become living forms. And we can only change it by making an effort. So let's say somebody hurt. I think of that person. But then I know the qualities of that person. There's nobody on earth without qualities. And I say, but he is a good father. But she is a good teacher. But they are charitable people. And every time I think of them or those or she or he, it doesn't matter how many, I think of a positive thing. That's the beginning of the reconciliation. But there is one enemy that is the worst enemy. And you already know it because Spiritism explains from the get-go. It's myself. When I don't like something inside of me, worst enemy. And many of us still time dealing with our previous lives' personalities that we didn't approve of. They become our worst enemies to the point that we unconsciously project them onto people. And we say, people who do this, who do that, why? Psychology and Spiritism comes to us. It's us in the past, now projected onto somebody else. How do I reconcile with that part of me that I don't approve of? Compassionate towards others if I'm not working self-compassion. And that's when current positive psychology, neuroscience, phenomenal works by Louise Hay tell us we need to do mirror work. Practical, my friends. By doing mirror work, looking at ourselves in the mirror and saying, I forgive you. I believe in your divine essence. I'm going to learn to love you again. You yourself, as ourselves. Right? Exactly. So, right now, he's telling us first, old promises to fulfill, that we need to reconcile with. If we learn to do it within ourselves, with ourselves, and within ourselves, it will be second nature to externalize it towards others. How do we know it? Neuroscience shows that to create in the brain, I need a lot of molecules to attract neurons, creating synapses, and to neurons that are not appropriate. And that takes time and effort. It doesn't take one single time to make that biology express it. And once the biological body expresses the pathway, we're able to externalize. And that's why many people don't understand why there is a gap between what I know and what I do. Because between what I know as a spirit to the action that needs to go through the implementation in the spiritual body, from the mental body, as André Luiz says, into worlds, from the mental body to the perispiritual body, and from the perispiritual body to the physical, it takes time. So we need to begin it in the mind, visualizing it, seeking it, so we can make it happen. So if it takes time, keep going. Just keep swimming. Just keep swimming. As Dory in the movie says, just keep going and it's gonna happen. So let's go back here and see what else Emmanuel recommends to do in the new year. Remember, Emmanuel is not saying he knows it. He lived before us. He says, if you were offended, forgive, so that love may enlighten your road ahead. Many people are afraid of forgiving because they are afraid of being hurt again. Well, that's not an excuse. And we can't forget that we only attract what we have emitted. Vanessa, you're saying that the person was right? No, nobody's right. When we make a mistake, we're wrong. But we can't forget that there is one law, and Andrea Luiz explains this in the book Mechanisms of Mediumship. Law of the mental field. I attract what I have emitted. So I attract that scenario. Before I become upset with somebody, I look at myself and ask, where have I brought that up in my life? If in this life there is no explanation, you bet previous lives explain it all. Chico Xavier himself, as a model for us in many ways, because he followed the footsteps of the great master, the greatest of all, our governor Jesus. He had several illnesses, probably none of us here are gonna have. And many people didn't understand. But he often said, I am expunging, draining through my physical body things that I from previous lives. Illnesses, predispositions to illnesses only happen due to the remembrance of grave mistakes. Says Andrea Luiz in the book Evolution into Worlds, chapter 19, part 2. I'm giving you the references because Emmanuel says the new year is an opportunity to learn. So these are the many books that we can browse through and learn more together in the new year. So how can I relate myself and crystallize my feelings, enclose myself towards anyone because somebody offended? But let's not forget that in English it says, I took offense. It's up to us. Do you think Jesus taken offense? No. What did he say? Father, please forgive them, for they do not know what they are doing. He never took offense because he knew mistakes towards him were due to our short-sightedness, our ignorance. And he said it could be with anybody else who would be fulfilling my task now. So he knew it was not personal. It was not personal. But he says we need to make an effort, says Emmanuel. He says, and I'll bring the slide back again. If you were offended, forgive. Why? Because when I don't forgive, I am vibrating what? Lack of mercy. Merciless, I will attract minds that are merciless. of the unmerciful or the merciless servant. Jesus said it. There was a man who owed the Lord of the lands a lot of money. The guards brought him to the presence of that Lord. And they said, you have to pay. And he said, I'm sorry, but I can't. I don't have the money now. The merciful forgave him. He was allowed back to his life. Passing by the street, he sees somebody who owes. He stops that person without mercy and says, you have to pay me. The guards of the Lord were around. They ran into the Lord's kingdom and said, he didn't forgive others. The Lord said, bring him back. And the Lord said, you merciless servant, now you're going to be punished because you didn't forgive. So that's why to us, forgive so that love may enlighten your road again ahead, because we'll be vibrating higher and we won't be attached to the little tiny things that happen in our lives. We need to be less sensitive, right? In Portuguese, we call milindre. It destroys our lives because beautiful things can happen and we spoil out of oversensitivity. And then later, Emmanuel is going to continue. Too much in 2018. Pick up the plow of your obligations and courageously plant the good for the harvest to come. So it's up to us if we have rested too much or not. But he says, well, now it's time to work. So he reinforces and he uses that we really want to emphasize. Courageously plant the good. Why does Emmanuel say that? Because we think it's second nature for us, the good, right? But it's not. Why? Often we hesitate to do the good because we want to keep the status quo to be accepted by our peers. We think only teenagers feel peer pressure. Adults feel it all the time. We're just so humans. The body changes, but the spirit is the same. And peer pressure exists in all moments of our lives. And it takes courage for us to do the right. When our families think otherwise, when people at work think otherwise, when people in our communities and even Spiritist centers think otherwise. And the Spiritist movement, to do the good, it takes courage. And he says 2019 as the new year is an opportunity for us to be courageous and plant that good that we have been hesitating to fulfill out of lack of courage. If you in the new year, forget it. Okay, let me go back to the slide so everybody can see it. Forget it and seek for the serene joy of conscience in duty well done. So sadness comes, and there is a beautiful song, right? We all know this. The Jesus is passing by, right? And when he comes, everything is fine. Sadness is gone and happiness arrives. Because with Jesus, we're constantly serving. And that's the only way. You want to shoo sadness away? Let's do the good. Let's work for the benefit of others. That's why he's tying it up. serenity, joy, patience with the word duty. Fulfill our duty. Oh, I'm so sad. I don't want to do laundry. I don't want to clean my house, declutter the house, and joy will be restored because the small duties are the beginning as we want to fulfill the bigger ones. And he continues, new day in our immortality. And in that simple statement, exclamations, Emmanuel is saying, don't forget, a new year seems to be long, but it's a day in immortality. So cherish your day, your year. Smile to those who hurt you and look for harmony with those who have not understood you until now. And he says, smile within, because sometimes we won't have an opportunity right away. But smile, smile, and be agreeable. Why can't people be agreeable? Sometimes people, and I see that in parents sometimes, because very often parents abuse their power. Children forget so easy that parents do, but we don't. Look at them. They come to hug us and we're like, I'm not going to hug you. Why? Because of what you've done. Come, let's renew ourselves, begin anew, right? Begin anew. Find able any harm. If we begin in our families, we will to do it as well. Right? I see here Carol Correa saying sadness is gone, and So is also saying, I want to share with you, my friends, through a lot of prayers and faith this year, I reconcile with someone that hurt, and I feel peace in my heart. Beginning a new year, new. God is wonderful. Thank you, Souza, for sharing it with us, and thank you, friends, for allowing us to share these beautiful thoughts. Emmanuel, that remember that there is more than malice surrounding your destiny. There is more ignorance. We don't know many things. People don't know many things. And this is an opportunity for us not to assume. I see a lot of what in journalism we call killer reporting, fake news. People creating stories about people, creating slanders, and we would say to people, have you asked the person that you've heard about if this is true? Who is telling you that story? Somebody who is clean? And the question is, who is clean? Why do you believe? And Jesus says, we measure, we know the tree by the fruits. I see people sometimes talking bad things about people who are generous and good. Like Franco, people used to do that with Chico Xavier, like they did with Jesus. The reports by Humberto de Campos in the book Good News, Boa Nova, clear cut state to us that people thought that Jesus was a drunkard, that Jesus was a womanizer, that Jesus was an ignorant person, a crazy revolutionary. Jesus! People are gonna tell this and worse of us. Who cares? You're gonna stop doing the good? Shouldn't. None of us should. Because people don't know what they're doing, don't know what they're talking about. Hopefully, we also do not spread fake. Because if others do, that's their problem. If we do it, it's our problem. So, Emmanuel clearly states states to us here, be less sensitive and be more understanding. In this statement, he is reinforcing what he says in the book Thought and Life, chapter 10, which is titled Understanding. Let's not forget, if you want to study a good book for the new year, Thought and Life by Emmanuel. Pensamento e Vida, in 30 little chapters. He sums up for us, guidelines for our whole reincarnation, he says. If we want to succeed in life, he says, coach your mind and leash your will with God, but understand. Understanding is vital. In the book Harvest of Light by Emmanuel, in Portuguese it's named Ceifa de Luz, in 65 chapters, including the preface, Emmanuel, in every single chapter, we did the statistics. He doesn't miss the word understanding as vital for spirituality. People do things out of conditionings, out of automatisms, oftentimes not knowing what they are doing, including ourselves. So giving people a chance and an opportunity to know, to understand. If I understand, understanding will be inspirational also for others. That's why he says, do not condemn. We're living at a funny time when people are so intolerant. They do not allow people to say what they like, what they dislike. And we're quick at cursing, at condemning. And he's saying, don't do it. Our guidance model has never done it. Never. And then help by sparking some light at those who pass by your side in the restlessness of darkness. Help by shining your light. I know some people don't like singing, but we do like singing, though not knowing well. But the let it shine is the tone. Jesus said it, let your light shine. And the song goes, this little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Because it's not mine actually. So how can I put under anything? Talk to people. You do not need to indoctrinate. Listen. And they are gonna say, oh, I don't know if this person, and you're listening, afraid of if I say, you're gonna think I am this, that, and the other. Well, maybe the good spirits are waiting for you to step forward and be that helping hand. You're just encouraging, like you would like to be forgiving. So, why not? You're going to be lighter if you forgive, if you forget, if you begin anew, if you tell yourself that you are capable of doing this, that, and the other that you have missed. Why not? We're not indoctrinating, we're just sharing light that comes through us. And it's not, we cannot keep it for ourselves alone. Right? Remember the book Evolution, Liberation by Andrea Lewis. There is a passage that I'll never forget. It's so impactant. It says, in the discarnate world, in the spiritual realm, there is a group of spirits that are being evaluated by what they have done. So they have an apparatus that measures their vibrational tone. And there is a group that is classified people, the ones who were greedy, misers when incarnated. Suddenly, a man raises his hand and says, hold on, I was not a greedy person. I was not a miser. In my life, I've never had money. I never had money, so why am I here? And the spirits who are around said, you are a miser. You were greedy. And he says, but I was an intellectual. I had books. I loved books. I've never had money. And the spirits replied, yes, you had knowledge, but you didn't share the knowledge with others. That makes you a greedy person. We often think of being greedy as those who have money, but it's a vibrational tone, and it's for all those who have resources and do not share. We have the Spiritist resources. Are we sharing at the max that we can, or just to a few? It's up to us to decide, share the light or not. The new year is that. So our dear Emmanuel continues at the message by telling us, do not either get discouraged or lose faith in the new year. We begin the new year being hopefully not drunk, because I know people who go Eve drinking to death, and on day 1st of 2019 of the new year, they are already discouraged. Why? Because they have drunk. So a good thing not to get discouraged is stop drinking, drink water, pray, and practice faith, so we can multiply days in encouragement and faith. In the current issue of the Spiritist magazine, which is the March issue of 2019, but it's already available at the website spiritistmagazine.org. You'll find an article about the physical, emotional, and of social drinking. So before New Year's Eve come, so you save your life from being discouraged on day one when you wake up awkward that you had a plan, something else has already happened. Finally, our dear Emmanuel into the beautiful sentences. Cultivate the good cheer with those who come your way and are dominated by the coldness of disenchantment or indifference. Be encouraged, and you're going to be the one, the cheerleader of Jesus on earth, telling people, come on, let's do the good. Let's rejoice. Life is good. And now there is even a brand. So that's a good gift for everybody. T-shirts, hats, mugs, anything. Life is good. And share. Life is good. Come on, let's see from another angle. There's always something good in the horizon for us. Do not forget that Jesus never despairs with us. Sometimes we have loved ones that are suffering so much or difficult times that we tend to despair. and think that that's the end of our lives because we're seeing children, teenagers, or adults, elderly people going through cruel times. But Jesus is still there, taking care of everybody, and there's always another day. Dear Chico Xavier shared with us when one day he was feeling that kind of despair. And Mother Mary sent him a message. A message that we can revisit when we read the book Good News by Humberto de Campos. The last chapter about Mary. It says, passers-by would come discouraged, disenchanted with life, and she would say, this shall pass. This will pass. Why do we believe her? Because Mother Mary, her love is unsurpassing. No one on earth will ever experience that she experienced. The pain of having birthed a son, a child that was perfect, clear, crystal, in love, going through the cruel martyrdom. She didn't go crazy because she is a true servant of God. She learned herself the passes. And that's why she taught also Chico Xavier. This shall pass. So he imprinted that statement and placed it in front of his bed. Chico Xavier would wake up every day and read it. This shall pass. This shall pass. This shall pass. So in the new year, let's not forget, when things happen in our lives, you bet, after the passing of this moment, that phase, beautiful things ahead. We're destined to progress. And Jesus himself never despairs. Finally, Emmanuel, in the last part of the chapter, says to us, as if hidden by our side, Jesus patiently and kindly repeats to us, love and help always. Reach out to others supporting yourself. Because if the day comes back tomorrow, I'll be with you, waiting for the sweet joy of the open door of your heart. Friends, today we're being invited by the Master himself to expand our loving capacity and to think more of other people's needs, forgetting less about our needs and really loving more and more, practicing greater understanding. And this is the end of this message as a spiritual recipe for our preparing ourselves. This year, 2019, is very important. Why? Because it's the present, right? That's the reason why. The present is more important than the past and the future, because the future only God knows, but also because 2019 is the year that it completes almost like another cycle in human, almost the end of the second decade of the 21st century. Certainly new progressive on earth will be felt, but it depends on us to join forces with our governor every day, waking up every day and saying, good morning, dear governor. I'm here to serve. Every day, be reverent to the governors of the earth and be helpful, loving, and helping more. That's it for today. And I pass the word to Marcelo if he wants to say anything. Marcelo, I'm going to put you up here so people can see you too, okay?
Hi, Vanessa, can you hear me?
Yes, now we can.
Okay, good. Well, first, I would like to thank you very much, Vanessa. In such a short period of time, you put together exact what we're looking for. You know, this opening, these ideas, looking inside of ourselves, look at the opportunities for forgiveness, and put our effort to build our new ourselves, our new me. And we just want to thank all of the others friends that's watching us. And we apologize a little bit in the beginning. We were a little bit confused here with technology, but the message that you brought it to us is really fulfill us, not only me, but all our family here, Sarah. Everyone wants. And if you do our close, if you want us to do our prayer,
You please do the prayer.
okay. So let's keep, even though we're far away, but keep our heart very close to each other as we were hugging in a big, big hug. Connect with each other cheerfully, feeling the love, the harmony inside of us, the happiness. And thank our Lord for this great opportunity here to be here right now, feeling this pleasure, the love, the courage to continue our way towards Him. Thank our Master Jesus for the teachings, for the love, for the guidance that have brought it to us. Our guardian angels that apply so much effort to guide us and inspire all of us as a big family. The love, the righteousness to become every day a better person. Thank you so much, God. Thank you, Jesus. Thanks, High Speed Spirits. And thank you, Vanessa, for your kindness, your love, your persistence, and everything that you all know. Thank you so much, Vanessa.
Thank you, friends. Thank you for the loving kindness. Thank you, Marcelo, for the opportunity of being together. And Happy New
Oh,
Year, friends.
we love it. We're going to have more of this.
Yes, hopefully. Count on us,
Definitely.
right?
Definitely.
All right. So let's
First
say
of many that will
thank you
come.
so much.
Thank you so much.
Yes, so that's something for the new year. Okay. Big hug to everybody. New Year. Happy New Year, Kardec Radio audience as
Happy New Year
well.
for your
Until
family
next
too.
time. Thank you.
Bye bye, Vanessa.
Bye.